Have you ever wondered what people over 100 do every day to stay healthy? In quiet villages scattered across Japan, researchers have discovered something remarkable: simple daily habits shared by men and women who have quietly defied aging. These centenarians don't rely on miracle pills or extreme diets. Instead, their vibrant, long lives are built on small, intentional choices made every single day. In this video, we're diving into 8 daily rituals practiced by the long-living residents of Japan's most famous longevity villages, habits backed by real-life studies of people who've passed the 100-year mark with grace, strength, and clarity. Stick around until the end, because these quiet routines might just hold the key to not only living longer, but living better, with more energy, deeper joy, and a renewed sense of purpose, one day at a time. Before we dive in, go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone you care about. Also, let me know in the comments, where are you watching from? I'd love to see how far this wisdom travels. Alright, let's get started. Number 1. Daily natural movement. One of the quiet secrets to a long, healthy life, especially in the world's so-called blue zones, like the villages of Okinawa, Japan, isn't found in a gym or through high-intensity routines. Instead, it's found in the subtle, almost effortless movements woven into daily life. For many elders in these regions, physical activity isn't a scheduled task. It's simply a way of being. Take Martin, an 85-year-old retired schoolteacher, living in a small coastal town. He might remind you of someone like Tom from Okinawa. Every morning, he takes a slow walk through his backyard garden, tending to his tomatoes and pruning his rose bushes. His movements aren't hurried or forced. They flow naturally, almost like breathing. He doesn't think of it as exercise. It's just life. Unlike the modern emphasis on regimented workouts, step goals, or aggressive fitness challenges, the kind of movement we see in long-lived populations is rooted in purpose and practicality. These people aren't chasing a fitness tracker. They're walking to visit neighbors, bending to pull weeds, carrying baskets of vegetables from garden to kitchen, sweeping porches, or kneading dough for bread. The body moves because life calls for it to move. There's a kind of grace in that simplicity. Daily chores become rituals of well-being. Movement becomes mindful, meaningful, and sustainable. And that may be the key difference. Where many exercise programs can feel like obligations or even punishments, natural movement fosters a sense of independence, vitality, and connection to one's environment. When movement is integrated into life in this way, the results speak for themselves. The heart remains strong. The joints stay flexible. Energy levels remain remarkably high well into the 8th, 9th, and even 10th decades of life. Perhaps more importantly, these gentle motions maintain mental sharpness and emotional well-being. They give people a reason to get up in the morning and a way to stay engaged with the world around them. The American lifestyle, especially after retirement, often shifts toward the sedentary. It's easy to slip into habits of stillness, long hours in front of the television, days structured around rest rather than rhythm. But we weren't made to be still. Our bodies crave motion, not marathons or boot camps, but simple, steady movement. You don't need a personal trainer or an expensive fitness program to follow the wisdom of the centenarians. What you need is intention. Consider a short walk after dinner instead of going straight to the couch. Stretch your arms gently while you're watching the evening news. Wash the dishes by hand. Plant a few herbs in a pot and tend to them each morning. These are small acts, but done regularly, they become powerful habits. The beauty of this approach is that it doesn't overwhelm. It meets you where you are, whatever your age, mobility, or health condition. You don't need to break a sweat. You just need to move with purpose. In fact, this kind of movement often reduces the risk of injury or burnout associated with more intense routines. It's more forgiving, more human. Imagine each motion as a quiet conversation between your body and your environment. Each step, each stretch, each gentle chore is a way of saying, I'm still here. I'm still part of this world. That's the spirit people like Martin, and so many elders across the globe, carry into their daily routines. Our culture often celebrates the extraordinary, the dramatic transformations, the flashy fitness successes. But longevity, true health, is rarely built in bursts. It's built over time, in consistency, in simplicity, in quiet devotion to daily life. Let movement be your companion, not your taskmaster. Let it be a thread that runs through your day, tying your actions to your well-being. The goal isn't to push your body to its limits, but to invite it into gentle service of your life. Day after day, year after year. You don't have to do more. You just have to keep moving, naturally, consistently, and with care. Number 2, eat to 80% full, hara, hachi, bu. Among the most quietly powerful habits observed in the world's longest living populations is a simple practice from Okinawa, Japan, known as hara, hachi, bu, a phrase that means eat until you're 80% full. Not stuffed, not even completely satisfied. Just enough. For many of us raised in a culture of clean your plate, the idea of stopping short of fullness can seem foreign. But for the centenarians of Japan, it's not a diet, it's not deprivation. It's simply common sense, an old, gentle wisdom passed from generation to generation. Instead of piling food high or rushing through meals, they eat slowly, thoughtfully. They savor each bite, giving their bodies time to catch up with their hunger. And it makes all the difference. Science backs this up. Nutritionists and psychologists alike tell us it takes about 20 minutes for our brains to register fullness. But in a world of drive-thrus, oversized portions, and distracted eating, many of us eat well past that point before our bodies ever get the memo. This is where the 80% rule becomes so meaningful. When you stop eating just shy of being full, you give your body time to respond. You allow digestion to do its job. You avoid the heaviness, bloating, and fatigue that often follow overeating. Over time, this habit supports a healthy weight, improves metabolism, and even reduces the risk of chronic illnesses, all without ever feeling like you're on a diet. Think of Margaret, a 78-year-old widow in rural Oregon, who adopted this practice a few years ago after reading about blue zone cultures. At first it felt odd, she says. I'd been taught to always finish what's on my plate. But now, I leave a little room. I feel lighter after meals, and I've noticed I sleep better too. It's not about counting calories or restricting joy. It's about reconnecting with your body's quiet signals, the ones we so often ignore. It's about slowing down enough to hear them. Meals become less about control and more about gratitude. A bowl of soup is savored, not scarfed down. A plate of vegetables becomes a moment of nourishment, not a checklist item. You walk away from the table energized, not sluggish. This kind of mindfulness around food can have a powerful ripple effect. You begin to view meals not just as fuel, but as an experience. You respect your body's cues. You become more in tune with what real hunger feels like and what true satisfaction means. For many older Americans, food has long carried emotional weight. Whether it's comfort during stress, reward for hard work, or simply habit. Shifting that perspective doesn't mean giving up joy or tradition. It means finding balance, eating with kindness, offering your body enough but not too much. If you've spent decades eating until you're full or beyond, it might take time for this to feel natural. But it's not about willpower. It's about trust. Trust that your body knows when it's had enough. Trust that you don't need to fill the tank every time you eat. The change doesn't happen overnight. But little by little, as you begin to slow down and listen, something shifts. You begin to notice how food makes you feel, not just during the meal, but afterward. Are you comfortable? Are you clear-headed? Can you move freely? Hara Hachi Bu invites us to ask those questions, not with judgment, but with curiosity. It's an invitation to practice a daily act of respect for the food on your plate and the body that carries you through life. And in the long run, it's not just about digestion or waistlines. It's about how you carry yourself through the years, lightly, gracefully, without the burden of overindulgence or regret. So the next time you sit down to eat, take a moment. Slow your pace, breathe, check in with your body. And when you feel that gentle signal that says, that's enough, honor it. Leave the table not with fullness, but with peace. Number 3, Maintain strong social connections. If there's one quiet thread woven through the lives of those who live past 100, it's the strength of their relationships. In the world's longest living communities, especially in rural villages of Japan, elders don't grow old in isolation. They grow old together. Social connection isn't treated as an afterthought or a luxury. It's as vital as nutritious food and daily movement, perhaps even more so. Whether it's through afternoon tea with a neighbor, sharing vegetables from the garden, or casual chats while sweeping the front step, these small daily touch points form the fabric of a long, fulfilling life. In a culture that often celebrates independence to the point of loneliness, this might seem counterintuitive, but research confirms what these centenarians have always known. Strong relationships are powerful medicine. Loneliness has been shown to carry health risks on par with smoking or obesity. Meanwhile, close social ties have been linked to reduced risk of depression, cognitive decline, and even heart disease. Think of Harold, an 82-year-old widower from a coastal town in Maine. Every afternoon he strolls through his neighborhood. He checks in on the same folks he's known for decades, helps fix a squeaky gate here, shares tomatoes from his backyard there, sometimes just sits and watches the sunset with a friend. These aren't grand gestures, but they're consistent, meaningful, and deeply human. In that quiet routine, Harold finds not just company, but purpose. That's the secret. Social connection doesn't have to come from dinner parties or endless phone calls. It can be as simple as joining a small book club, calling your sister on Sunday mornings, or walking your dog with a neighbor 3 times a week. What matters is showing up, often, genuinely, with an open heart. In the villages where people live to 100 and beyond, friendships and family aren't just sources of joy, they're protective forces. They offer daily doses of laughter, support, accountability, and belonging. Over time, this steady presence weaves a kind of emotional resilience that no medication can provide. After 60, relationships take on a new richness. They're no longer about networking or status. They're about companionship, shared history, and emotional grounding. In fact, the later years of life can be the most deeply connected, if we nurture that possibility. Maintaining strong bonds isn't about effort as much as intention. Set reminders to check in on an old friend. Leave a handwritten note for a neighbor. Offer to help someone who may not ask. It's often in the smallest gestures that the greatest connections are built. The truth is, we don't outgrow our need for people. We grow into it. And the older we get, the more vital it becomes to surround ourselves with those who care, not just about us, but with us. As one Okinawan elder once put it, the secret is never to eat alone, never to grieve alone, and never to laugh alone. Invest in relationships not just because they're pleasant, but because they're necessary. They hold us up, they give us a reason to get up, and they remind us, even in the quietest moments, that we are never truly alone. So, make the call, take the walk, share the meal. Life isn't just about how long we live, but who we choose to live it with. Number 4, plant-based diet. Across the world's longest living communities, especially in the serene villages of Japan, there's one dietary habit that quietly supports health, vitality, and longevity, a way of eating centered around plants. In these communities, food isn't fast, fussy, or flashy. Meals revolve around simple, whole ingredients: leafy greens, sweet potatoes, seaweed, tofu, beans, rice, and seasonal vegetables. Fish appears now and then, in small portions. Meat? It's a rarity, reserved for special occasions, not a daily staple. What lands on the plate is colorful, light, and full of life. Instead of heavy, greasy, or processed fare, meals here are nourishing without being overwhelming. There's no strict calorie counting or trendy restriction, just a natural rhythm of eating what the earth provides, prepared in ways that respect the body and the seasons. Modern nutrition science backs this up. Diets rich in whole plant foods have been shown to improve heart health, reduce inflammation, aid digestion, and lower the risk of chronic diseases like diabetes and cancer. But in these long-living villages, this isn't a diet. It's simply the way it's always been. Picture Dorothy, an 80-year-old woman living in a quiet mountain town. She grows much of her own food: kale, carrots, miso, tofu, purple yams. Her meals are humble yet deeply satisfying, not because they're restrictive, but because they're real. Food isn't a battle or a burden. It's a relationship with the land, the body, and the act of living well. Adopting a plant-forward way of eating doesn't mean giving up everything you love. It simply means letting fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and legumes take center stage, while treating heavier, richer foods like guests, not hosts. A shift like this doesn't just support your physical well-being. It helps you reconnect with nature's seasons, with the soil that feeds you, and with the quiet joy of a balanced life. It's a powerful reminder that longevity doesn't come from miracle powders or fad diets. It's built meal by meal, choice by quiet choice, from foods that truly sustain you. So tonight, maybe add an extra handful of greens to your plate. Try a new bean soup. Roast some sweet potatoes with olive oil and sea salt. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Start where you are, and honor your body the way those who live past 100 have always done, not with rules, but with respect. If you're still watching this video and found something valuable here, type #4 in the comments so I know you're with me. And if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a moment of inspiration. Your support keeps this channel going and keeps these timeless lessons alive. Now, let's continue. 5. Live with purpose. Ikigai. Among those who live past 100 in Japan's famed longevity villages, there's a quiet but powerful force that runs through each of their lives, a deep, unwavering sense of purpose. They don't wake up drifting through their days. They rise with intention, knowing there's something they're meant to do, someone they care for, a reason their presence still matters in the world. In Japan, this is called ikigai, a reason for being, and it doesn't have to be grand. For some, it's tending a small garden. For others, it's passing down a traditional craft, preparing meals for the family, or simply showing up at the weekly community gathering. What matters isn't how impressive it is, but how meaningful it feels. Psychologists have found that having a strong sense of purpose is closely linked to lower rates of depression, greater resilience in the face of illness, and even reduced mortality. Purpose acts as an emotional anchor, a steady hand on the wheel when life throws inevitable storms your way. Think of Frank, a 77-year-old man living in a quiet seaside village. Every morning, rain or shine, he tends to the public flower beds outside the local temple. He trims, waters, and replants with care, knowing his small act adds beauty to the lives of every passerby. That garden isn't just full of flowers, it's full of meaning. For Frank, it's what gives each day color and direction. Finding or renewing your sense of purpose doesn't require a dramatic life change. It might mean helping a neighbor with groceries, writing a letter to an old friend, learning to paint, or simply choosing to greet the day with kindness. After 60, when many of life's major milestones are behind us, purpose doesn't disappear, it transforms. It becomes more personal, more reflective, and perhaps more powerful than ever. Nurturing. It isn't about staying busy. It's about staying connected to what makes your heart beat with hope, to the small joys that give life its meaning, and to the people who are made better by your presence. Because in the end, purpose isn't about what you do. It's about who you become in the doing. 6. Spend time outdoors. In the longevity villages of Japan, one of the most overlooked yet enduring habits of the elderly is remarkably simple. They spend time outdoors, not as a luxury or a treat, not something squeezed into a weekend or reserved for a vacation, but as a quiet, daily ritual woven into the rhythm of life itself. Whether it's walking along narrow dirt paths between rice paddies, sitting on a shaded porch, harvesting vegetables from a family plot, or simply breathing in the crisp morning air, Being outside is not a scheduled activity. It's just how the day begins and ends. The health benefits are well documented. Natural light helps regulate circadian rhythms, which in turn improves sleep and stabilizes mood. Just being outdoors has been shown to lower blood pressure, ease mental fatigue, and reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. Sunlight stimulates vitamin D production, which is crucial for bone health, immune function, and cognitive well-being, especially as we age. But something deeper is happening too. Nature doesn't demand anything from us except our presence. It draws us out of our heads and into our bodies. It invites us to slow down, to notice, to belong. The rustle of wind in the trees, the call of a bird overhead, the soft crunch of gravel beneath our feet, all of it calls us back to something essential. Take Eleanor, for example, a quiet 80-year-old woman living in a rural mountain town in the Pacific Northwest. She begins and ends her day with a short walk along a narrow forest trail behind her home. It's not about cardio or step counts. She doesn't walk far, and she certainly doesn't walk fast. But she walks with attention. Each day, she notices the changing color of the leaves greets the squirrels that scamper across her path, and waves to the neighbors tending to their gardens. It's not exercise exactly, it's something older than that. It's a conversation with the world, one slow step at a time, and it matters. The truth is, many of us spend most of our time inside, especially as we get older. We might tell ourselves that it's safer or more convenient, or just what happens with age. But we weren't built for a life inside four walls. Our bodies and our minds still crave the natural world. And the good news? You don't have to climb a mountain or hike 10 miles to benefit. A short stroll after lunch, sitting on your porch with a cup of coffee, pulling a few weeds in a garden bed, even standing barefoot on your lawn for a few quiet moments. These small acts can have a big impact. These aren't grand gestures, they're gentle reorientations. They slow the heartbeat, clear the mind, and lift the spirit. They remind us, in small but vital ways, that we are still part of a living world. In Japan's long-lived communities, this daily relationship with nature isn't considered optional. It's essential. It's one of the invisible threads holding the fabric of their health together. Here in the US, we've often come to think of health in terms of gym memberships, supplements, and doctor's appointments. But sometimes, longevity doesn't begin at the pharmacy or the fitness center. Sometimes it starts with opening the back door and stepping outside. Eleanor doesn't walk to extend her life. She walks because it enriches it. Being in nature reconnects us with the rhythms that still govern life. Seasons changing, flowers blooming, storms passing. When we align ourselves with these patterns, even in small ways, we tap into something timeless, something that nourishes us in ways modern life often forgets. So if you've been watching this video and you found this insight valuable, please type 6 in the comments below to let me know you're still here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to do so and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the rest of this journey. Your support allows us to keep creating thoughtful content to inform and inspire. Let's keep exploring together. Now let's move forward. Number 7. Practice daily stress relief rituals. In the world's longest living communities, especially those quiet villages in Japan where people often surpass 100 years of age, one of the most quietly powerful habits is their commitment to daily stress-reducing rituals. These aren't grand acts or dramatic interventions. They're small, personal, and intentional practices, woven into daily life not as reactions to stress, but as a way to prevent it from taking hold in the first place. Each person's ritual is different. Some begin their mornings in prayer. Others participate in the calming process of preparing tea. Some meditate. Others find peace in lighting incense or simply practicing slow, deliberate breathing. What unites all these practices is not the form they take, but their purpose. A daily pause, a return to center, a moment of stillness that grounds the mind and settles the heart. Unlike the stress management techniques we often turn to only in times of crisis, When the tension is already high and our nerves already frayed, these rituals are proactive. They're not about fixing stress after it hits. They're about keeping it from accumulating at all. That's why they work. Regular rituals like these help regulate our nervous system, lower cortisol levels, support heart health, and boost resilience to the inevitable difficulties of life. And perhaps most importantly, they create space, a breathing room, for us to hear ourselves think and feel again. There is profound wisdom in choosing to slow down, especially in a culture that so often pushes us to speed up. Consider Harold, an 85-year-old man living in a small fishing town along the Maine coast. Every morning, before saying a word to anyone, he lights a single candle and sits in silence for 10 minutes. He doesn't pray out loud, he doesn't chant or stretch. He just sits quietly, sometimes with thoughts, sometimes without, but always with presence. It's not dramatic, it's not flashy, but it is sacred. This quiet practice, carried out each morning without fail, helps Harold gather himself, find emotional balance, and begin the day on his own terms. It has helped him weather personal loss, life transitions, and even illness, with a calm and clarity that surprises even those decades younger than him. And here's the thing. What Harold does each morning isn't magic, it's intention. In a world filled with noise, digital notifications, 24-hour news cycles, constant demands for our attention, it's easy to forget that we can choose stillness. We can create space. We can offer ourselves a moment of peace. Not as a reward, but as a necessity. You don't need fancy equipment, a retreat center, or years of training to start. Just 5 minutes of mindful breathing, a few quiet sips of tea while watching the trees sway outside your window, a short journaling session, or a gentle stretch before bed. These moments, small as they seem, can be deeply nourishing. What matters is not how perfectly you perform the ritual, but that you show up for it. These kinds of practices communicate something powerful to our bodies and minds. You are safe. You are supported. You can rest here, and as people in their later years know well, rest isn't the absence of doing, it's the presence of peace. It's learning to be where you are, fully, without judgment or distraction. It's knowing that even when life feels chaotic, you can still come back to yourself. In the lives of those who've reached 100 and beyond, these small rituals become quiet lifelines. They build emotional stamina, they sharpen clarity, and they deepen joy. Not loud joy, but the quiet, kind that runs deep and steady. If you've never built a daily ritual into your routine, it's never too late to begin. Choose something simple, something that invites stillness, something that feels like yours. You don't need to impress anyone. You just need to arrive. The oldest among us are showing us something important. Peace isn't something you find out there. It's something you build, one quiet moment at a time. And if you're still here watching this and this resonated with you, type 7 in the comments below. I'd love to know you're still with me. And if you haven't already, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Your support helps us keep creating thoughtful, meaningful content for your body, your mind, and your soul. Now, let's keep going. Number 8. Keeping a consistent sleep and wake schedule. Among the quiet yet powerful habits observed in people who live beyond 100, especially in Japan's renowned longevity villages, is their commitment to consistent sleep and wake patterns. They rise with the sun and wind down as evening sets in, moving in harmony with nature's rhythm instead of pushing against it. This regularity isn't about sleeping longer, it's about sleeping smarter. By going to bed and waking up at roughly the same times every day, they stabilize their body's internal clock, what scientists call the circadian rhythm. This rhythm plays a vital role in regulating metabolism, hormone levels, immune function, and emotional balance. Think about that. The simple act of going to bed and waking up consistently can improve your heart health, stabilize your mood, sharpen your focus, and even extend your life. Modern science now confirms what these village elders have practiced for generations. Irregular sleep, staying up late one night, sleeping in the next, does more damage than we often realize. It can increase your risk of heart disease, depression, cognitive decline, and may even shorten your lifespan. Ruth, an 81-year-old woman from a quiet rural town in Vermont, still rises before the sun each morning to tend her little herb garden. She's in bed by 8:30 or 9 p.m. most nights. No alarm clock necessary, her body knows the rhythm. And that steady rhythm keeps her energy balanced, her mind clear, and her spirit grounded in the simple, sustainable cycles of the natural world. It's important to understand that creating a regular sleep-wake schedule doesn't mean you have to fall asleep at exactly the same minute every night. It's not about rigidity, it's about rhythm. It's about building gentle habits that signal to your body when it's time to rest and when it's time to rise. This might mean dimming the lights after dinner, avoiding heavy meals late at night, or engaging in a calming bedtime routine like reading, light stretching, or simply sitting quietly. These small acts help prepare the body for rest, making it easier to fall asleep and to wake up refreshed. In America, sleep is often treated like an afterthought, something to squeeze in after we've done everything else. We work late, stare at glowing screens until midnight, and then wonder why we wake up groggy and unrested. But in the world's longest living communities, sleep is treated with quiet reverence as one of the central pillars of health and vitality throughout life. There's a reason sleep is sometimes called nature's nurse. While we sleep, our bodies heal, our brains process and restore, and our nervous system resets. When we rob ourselves of sleep, we rob ourselves of that restoration. If you found yourself drifting into irregular patterns, falling asleep on the couch one night, tossing and turning the next, it's never too late to reset. You can start by choosing a consistent bedtime and wake-up time that works for you. Build your day around these anchors. Let your body relearn what it already knows. That rhythm brings restoration. There's something deeply powerful and deeply healing about aligning with the natural flow of time, not just going to bed when you're exhausted, but honoring sleep as a vital daily ritual, just like eating or moving your body. So if you're looking to boost your energy, strengthen your focus, or even soften the emotional ups and downs that come with age, start with sleep. Not more, but better. Not perfect, but consistent. And if you're still watching, type 8 in the comments below. I want to know you're on this journey with me. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss a video. We've still got more wisdom to explore together. As we wrap up today's video, take a quiet moment to reflect on the 8 powerful daily habits we explored. Which one spoke to you the most? Which one feels like something you could start adding into your life today? We'd truly love to hear from you. So drop a comment below and share one thing you learned and how you plan to use it to build a life that's not just longer, but richer, fuller, and more vibrant. Remember, longevity isn't built on grand gestures or impossible routines. It's the quiet choices, gentle movement, small meals, deep connections, and peaceful moments that form the foundation of a life that can stretch well past 100 years. Wherever you are on your journey, it's never too late to take one small step toward a life that feels lighter, brighter, and more alive. You deserve that life. You always have. Thank you so much for joining us today. If you found this video valuable, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who could use this wisdom too. Your support helps us keep creating thoughtful, inspiring content just for you. We're so grateful you're here, and we can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, take care and take it slow.